إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد. Dear brothers and sisters, the topic of the lecture today is going to be about Wahdatul Wujud, the creed of unity of existence. Alhamdulillah, last year I had at the beginning of this year in Leicester for Mecca Sunnah, I had done a talk regarding Wahdatul Wujud, and alhamdulillah, this talk is like a continuation, but because this topic is a very important topic, and that's why it needs many lectures to deal with it, and because of the danger related in my previous lecture, I had quoted Sa'd Tanzania al-Hanafi saying doing jihad against Ibn Arabi is greater than doing jihad against Egypt and Taghut. So because of the importance of this topic and the danger of this creed, because this creed is very widely propagated among Sufis, Deobandis, Brelvis and others, and because they are keeping it secret among themselves, so lots of brothers are not aware of it. So today, I would speak, it's like a continuation of, because last year I had done a talk refuting Molana Mumtaz on the topic, where is Allah, in Leicester for Mecca Sunnah. And then I had done at the beginning of this year a talk on Wahdatul Wujud, in which I quoted a lot from Mullah Liqari al-Hanafi, from his book Ibtal al-Qawl bi Wahdatul Wujud, obliteration of the creed of Wahdatul Wujud, by Mullah Liqari, and I've quoted Sa'd Tazani, Taqiyuddin Subki as well, refuting Ibn Arabi and exposing the creed of Ibn Arabi. And what happened is Molana Mumtazul Haq, he said that he said when talking to some brothers that Ali Hassan Khan lied upon us. We Deobandi do not believe Allah is present everywhere. So first of all, inshallah, I have a transcript of his dialogue with brother Yaseen Chaudhry, and I have another transcript of Molana Mumtazul Haq's speech with brother Sohail Patel. So inshallah, below these lectures on YouTube, I will give links to these transcripts so brothers can read them and check whatever I link to Molana Mumtazul Haq. And as well, I had quoted last year and in this year about my two previous refutation of Mullah Mumtazul Haq on Wahdatul Wujud or Fatwa of Dar Ulum Deoband. So I'm going to give a link to it below as well. So what happened, I had quoted before the Fatwa of Dar Ulum Deoband that was present on the web page, which says, is Allah, someone they asked Dar Ulum Deoband, which is the highest authority for the Deobandi school of thought there, the university. And the question was, क्या अल्लाह पाक हर जगह मौजूद है? क्या अल्लाह पाक एक ही वक्त में हर जगह मौजूद है? क्या अल्लाह पाक हर चीज में मौजूद है? Is Allah present everywhere? Is Allah at the same time present everywhere? And is Allah is present within, in everything? And the answer was, जी हाँ, Allah ताला हर जगह मौजूद है. Yes, Allah is present everywhere. जी हाँ, एक ही वक्त में हर जगह मौजूद है. Yes, Allah is present at the same time everywhere. And Allah Ta'ala हर चीज में मौजूद है. Allah Ta'ala is present in everything. ये तमाम امور قرآنی آیات से ثابت है. All these matters are proven from the Quran. So what happened is, because I had quoted this fatwa from Dar Ulum Deoband, and I said this is the creed of the Deobandi, Molana Mumtazul Haq, when he spoke to brother Yaseen Chaudhry, just because I like to clarify, because in my previous lecture on Mirza Qadiani being Hanafi and a Sufi, I said that brother Yaseen Chaudhry was running the Facebook page Hanafi Fiqh versus Muhammadi Fiqh, which in fact was a mistake, and I've corrected below the lecture in the YouTube link. Actually this Facebook page is run by brother Abdul Basir Khan, and Yaseen Chaudhry, his dialogue with Mumtazul Haq was quoted there. So I'd like to rectify this, that Abdul Basir Khan, he's the brother running Alul Hadith Fiqh versus Hanafi Fiqh versus Muhammadi Fiqh, and not brother Yaseen Chaudhry. So basically Yaseen Chaudhry was speaking to Molana Mumtazul Haq, And Molana Mumtaz is saying Ali Hassan Khan attributed a lie to Deobandis. We do not say Allah is present in everything. And Molana Mumtaz said that if we believe that Allah was present everywhere, we would worship everything like the Hindus, you see. And then when brother Yaseen Chaudhry then quoted to him the Fatwa of Dar Ulum Deoband, then Molana Mumtaz stopped writing and answering back to him. So I mentioned this before as well in my lecture. So I'd like to carry on this topic and refute some points raised by Molana Mumtaz regarding this Fatwa of Dar Ulum Deoband. First of all, I mean the allegation of Molana Mumtaz that we do not believe Allah is everywhere, while the Fatwa of Dar Ulum Deoband clearly says Allah is present in everything and everywhere. He said it's because if we believe such, we would worship everything like the Hindus, the idols, if we believed Allah was everywhere. But this is false. This is a false excuse, because the people of Wahdatul Wujud, they follow it as a secret religion. You see, it is like secret societies. I have quoted before themselves saying, whoever revealing the secrets of lordship, what Haji Imdadullah Makki quoted in his Kulliyat Imdadiya in the last Risala, Biyana Qita Wahdatul Wujud in Persian, and he's quoted that revealing the secrets of lordship is kufr, you see. So for them, and I had quoted from the book Irshad al-Muluk, they had a false hadith that the knowledge of the Prophet is divided between in two categories. One is for layman, one is for everyone. One is for layman and one is for particular people, khawas, you see. And so for them, there is some kind of knowledge taught by the Prophet that is only for the particular people. So obviously, these people, when they work as a Batini religion, secretive religion, like the Ismailis, the Ikhwan Safa, all these people who have a secretive religion, like the Shia Yustaqiyya, the Ismailis and others, Batini people, these people are following this principle. They believe in hidden knowledge. So there's nothing stopping them believing Allah is in everything, but they do not worship everything just out of taqiyya or for the fear of being killed. Because when like I've quoted in my lecture on Ibn Arabi and how Mullah Ali Qari al-Hanafi, great Hanafi Muhaddis, refuted him, Mullah Ali Qari said that about the mushrik of the people of Nuh alayhi salam, that had they left the idols, Wad, Suwa, Yaghus and others, they would have left worshipping Allah, you see. Had they left them, they would have left the true according to what of the left of the idol worship. Because Allah, for Ibn Arabi, he said he's present in everything. He has an aspect in everything. And he quoted the verse, you should, and he quoted the verse, your Lord decreed that you should not worship him but him. And he said what here decreed doesn't mean ordered, but it means Allah predetermined that everything, so everything that is worship is Allah, and this is how Mullah Abdurrahman al-Jami and Abdul Ghani Nablusi, they said yes, worship of others cannot happen. The scholars of Zahir are wrong to saying here it means ordered. Only Allah is worshipped. And also Ibn Arabi clearly said the creed of all people is right, and Mullah Ali Qari quoted the verse of Ibn Arabi, عقد الخلائق في الإله عقائدا ونعتقد جميع ما اعتقدوا. The creation held different creed about Allah, and I believe in all of what they believe. This is one of the poems of Ibn Arabi he quoted in his Futuhat Makkiyah, and Molana Abdurrahman Jami he quoted this in his explanation of Al-Fusus to explain the speech of Ibn Arabi. So for them, they said that the people only made a mistake in restricting their belief to the idols or to others. Ismail Haqqi, in one of his Risala, Kernel of Kernel in English, he said if the idol worshipper had extended their worship to everything, they had not just restricted this, they would have been believers. Their kufr was only to restrict divinity to idols. And Abdul Karim al-Jili, another follower of Ibn Arabi in his Insan al-Kamil, he said the Christian only made a mistake because they restricted their belief to Isa alayhi salam, his mother, and the Holy Spirit. If they generalized it, that would be fine. And even Mullah Abdurrahman Jami said the same in his explanation of Fusus Hikam. So for them, Allah is in everything they write it, they believe in it, but obviously for them this is a secret knowledge. You see, they're not going to worship or claim this belief in front of the layman, else they would be killed. This is what one of the Shazili Darqawi Sufi ibn Najibah clearly said in his book Futuhat Ilahiyah, which is translated into English. He said we should hide this belief, it's only for the particular, else we would be killed, like Mansur ibn Hussain al-Hallaj. And Abu Hassan Shadili in his book Lataif Minan of Ibn Ata'illah al-Iskandari, which has been translated into English, it is also said that affirm jam in your heart, I mean unity with Allah in your heart, and affirm separation on the tongue. So when you say that there are two existences and the creation's existence is separate from Allah, it's only on the tongue. Else in your heart, affirm jama, unity or being together. So when these people, they clearly say in their books, you should hide your creed, else you will be killed, like the martyr Al-Hallaj, who for them was a martyr because he was ready to die for their cause, because he exposed the reality of this secretive, batini, Shia-based religion. So that's why, I mean, it is not enough to say because we do not worship others that we do not believe in it. We have to judge people according to the text. And the texts clearly say, like Mullah Qari, they say, oh, for him idol worship is worshipping Allah, he believes in all creeds, he's a kafir. Sa'at Aftazani said the same. And even many others Hanafi scholars, like Ibrahim al-Halabi was a great Hanafi scholar. He was in Constantinople, he was a Khatib in the mosque of Sultan al-Fatih, and he had 3 books refuting Ibn Arabi. And inshallah, we'll try to, inshallah, in my next publication, inshallah, try to show all these quotes of all these great Hanafi scholars, Mullah al-Qari, Sa'at Aftazani, Ibrahim Halabi, Badruddin al-Aini, and many others, Shafi, Maliki, and Taqiyuddin Subkani's son, they would refute Ibn Arabi and burn his books. So, inshallah, in a further publication, inshallah. So, this is just to show that all these scholars, they have identified the speech of Ibn Arabi, of the people who explained Ibn Arabi, and they have seen that he believes that idol worshipping is worshipping Allah, because there's only one existence, it's Allah's existence, you see. This is not my own understanding or the understanding of the Ahlul Hadith. This is the understanding of many scholars. Shafi scholars like Ibn Hajar, his teacher Imam al-Balqini, his student al-Sakhawi, Imam Dhahabi, Ibn Kath, many hundreds of scholars, inshallah, and we will take time to quote them, inshallah, in further lectures, and inshallah in my forthcoming book, in refutation of Ibn Arabi. So we have to judge a creed according to its texts, not according to, oh, but if we believe this, then we would believe this. Because once we find these quotes in Ibn Arabi book, or in the elders' books, or in the Fatwa of Dar Ulum Deoband, and in the book of the Deobandi elders, that is enough for us to attribute this claim to Deobandis. You see, we don't need to justify, but if you believe this, then why you don't worship idol? This is up to you to ask your Deobandi people who, or Dar Ulum Deoband, this matter. This is not for us to show what is in your heart, because only Allah knows. We only judge the quotes, like the scholars who judge Ibn Arabi, Mullah al-Qari, they've shown his quotes, Sa'at Aftazani, Ibrahim al-Halabi. They say it's pure kufr, it's the greater kufr on the earth. There's no greater kafir than Ibn Arabi. Mullah al-Qari even said all the sects, even the Ahlul Bid'ah and all the Ahlul Kitab, the other people, they agree that such piece of Ibn Arabi constitutes kufr. So this is just, I mean, a futile argument which has no weight in it, and it doesn't explain Ibn Arabi's sayings or the sayings of the elders of Deoband. Then, I mean, Molana Mumtaz ul-Haq made some strange allegations against Ahlul Hadith, like you see there are many Shias, they don't respect the companions of the Prophet ﷺ, and he said like one of your Imams, Molana Wahidul Zaman, he quoted it in his book, and he gave the reference that Ibn Umar would open the fast on Jima, meaning he would open his fast doing Jima, and between the time of Maghrib and Isha he would do Jima with 3 slaves girls. And he said, what kind of you're insulting Sahaba by having such statements? But obviously Molana Mumtaz ul-Haq didn't bring any quote of Molana Wahidul Zaman, while when we criticize someone, bring the quote so people can see the context and what is exactly the speech of someone. So actually, I have listened to a lecture of Sheikh Abdurrahman Dimashqiya, in which he quoted this, refuting the Shia. He quoted, and he said, Sheikh Abdurrahman Dimashqiya, that actually this is a hadith narrated by Tabarani, and Haythami and others mentioned it, and Dhahabi mentioned it as well in his Siyar A'lam al-Nubala, and he said in refutation of the Shia that you see that there is authentic, there's nothing wrong. So that Ibn Umar opened the fast on doing Jima is just to show the permissibility of such actions. It's not to make fun, or it doesn't constitute a degradation of the Sahabi, you see. So, why Molana Mumtazul Haq doesn't criticize Tabarani al-Haythami or al-Zahabi for mentioning these narrations, actually? It is not an opinion of Molana Wahidu Zaman. So, this is just to show that these people, when they attribute things to Ahlul Hadith, actually, you see, the Ahlul Hadith are free from such action, and one should bring proofs. And obviously, if Molana Wahidu Zaman or any Ahlul Hadith elder would say a bad thing, we would be the first one to condemn it, because we do not hold our elders or any scholars to be infallible. You see, we're not muqallid like the Deobandis. So we do not believe anyone to be infallible. And if some of scholars made some mistakes, we would be the first one to criticize them. But in this case, what you attribute to Molana Wahidu Zaman is completely false. It is a hadith. It's not an opinion of Molana Wahidu Zaman. And Imam Zahabi said there's nothing wrong in it, and it just shows the permissibility, you see. And it doesn't show that Ibn Umar was a sexually obsessed person. It just shows that such an action is permissible to open your fast by doing having permissible relations with your slaves or your wives or whatever. Then Molana Mumtazul Haq said, but Nawab Siddiq Hasan Khan also believes in Wahdatul Wujud. And a brother, Khadir Ali Khan, he sent me a 25 minutes video of Molana Ilyas Guman from Pakistan, of the Deobandis, in which Molana Ilyas Guman quoted Nawab Siddiq Hasan Khan praising Ibn Arabi and defending him, and Mian Nazir Hussain Dehlvi, Dawood Ghaznavi, and other scholars defending Ibn Arabi. But like we said before, we do not do taqlid of any of the scholars. You see, they are human beings, and we only examine the proofs. If the evidences support their saying, we're going to choose the evidences. You see, the fatwa of a scholar can be right or wrong. So, but all the scholars that defended Ibn Arabi, meaning like other Suyuti or Aluzi and others, you see, but they did not agree with Ibn Arabi and his book Fusus al-Hikam that the creed of Wahdatul Wujud is right, you see. Contrary to the Deobandi, who believe that his book Fusus al-Hikam, that's why they sell it, is the truth, you see. So like some scholars, they believe Ibn Arabi has a valid, there can be some ta'wil to his sayings, or we do not understand what he meant by saying these kind of sayings, which are against the Sharia. But Nawab Siddiq Hasan Khan and Mian Nazir Hussain Dehlvi, they do not believe in the creed of Wahdatul Wujud. The fatwa are filled, like Fatwa al-Nazir at the beginning, but clear sayings from the Salaf that Allah is above his arsh by essence, you see, by his that. So once they establish that the essence of Allah is separated from the creation, and the essence of Allah is above the arsh, so they cannot believe in Wahdatul Wujud. And their only mistake was in not performing takfir or defending Ibn Arabi wrongly. So there is a difference between Nawab Siddiq Hasan Khan defending Ibn Arabi and his Wahdatul Wujud, and obviously Mian Nazir Hussain Dehlvi, because he was a student of the great Shah Muhammad Ishaq of Shah. He was a student of Muhammad Ishaq Shah, who was a great son of Shah Waliullah Dehlavi. And Shah Waliullah Dehlavi as well defended Ibn Arabi, saying there can be justification to his sayings, and they explain his speech in such a way. But we have to look at the dalal. You see, if the dalil are not convincing, there's no such explanation to idol worship was right, the people who worship idols will be thrown into water of knowledge, or there will be mixed in Allah's ahadiyah, or whatever his other statements of kufr, that worshipping idols is worshipping Allah, worshipping the calf is worshipping Allah. So whatever explanation they think is right, it is not a hujjah on us. You see, we only see kufr in the speech of Ibn Arabi, and we see the scholars clearly showing the kufr in Ibn Arabi Fusus al-Hikam, Now if a scholar is mistaken and they have good opinion of Ibn Arabi and they say, oh, this can be explained, we only examine the proof. And we said to Molana Mumtaz before, if he has a good explanation, I said many times, if we want to have a debate or talk about Fusus al-Hikam and what speech is in it and how he can show to us how the speech of Ibn Arabi is not against the Sharia, we would, if we thought we would accept it. We do not believe, do taqlid of scholars, but the fact is that his speech clearly says, you see, أَقَدَ الْخَلَاقِ فِي الْإِلَهِ عَقَائِدًا وَنَعْتَقَدُوا جَمِيعَ مَا اعْتَقَدُوا. The creation hell believes upon Allah, believe in all what they believe. He said all the creed of people is accepted, in its Fusus Hikam is accepted, they will all be rewarded. And Abdul Ghani Nablusi al-Hanafi, he said in explanation of it in Fusus Hikam, all the people of different nations and communities are all, you see, right, and none of them you should reject it. And Ismail Haqi al-Effendi, Turkish scholar, he also has a risala saying all the creeds of the people is right, explaining this thing of Ibn Arabi. And Ibn Arabi has so much other, defending Fir'aun, and for some scholars, just defending Ibn Arabi is kufr on its own. You see, it's sat after and say it is kufr shani'ah. You see, the rejecting the Quran. Many other scholars, like I've quoted before, Ad-Dalaji, he said rejecting the Quran, transforming the blame of the people of Nuh as praising them, and he's mocking many of the prophets in his Fusus al-Hikam, degrading Prophet Nuh alayhi salam, and we will inshallah show all this evidence in the future. So when Nawab Siddiq Hasan Khan Mian Nazir Sandilwi, they believe Allah to be, his essence to be above the Arsh. So if they defend Ibn Arabi, then it does not mean that they believe actually in what Ibn Arabi believed. And there are many other Ahlul Hadith scholars who did takfir of Ibn Arabi and condemned him. So this is not the school of thought of Ahlul Hadith is not to defend Ibn Arabi. Rather, most of our scholars follow Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah and others, and they condemn Ibn Arabi. Shaykh Abdul Manan Nurpuri recently, he said in his Irshadul Qari, his Shaykh al-Akfar, and many other scholars do of Ahlul Hadith do perform takfir of Ibn Arabi. So now we have refuted these claims of Molana. So now, after Molana Mumtaz spoke to Yaseen Chaudhry, he didn't reply to the Fatwa of Dar Ulum Deoband. So Molana Sohail Patel contacted him, and then he said, what do you say about this Fatwa of Dar Ulum Deoband? And first Molana Mumtaz said it has nobody signed it. Brother Sohail Patel, he emailed Dar Ulum Deoband, who conferred to him that the code of this fatwa was that of Mufti Habibur Rahman, and he was a former head Mufti of Dar Ulum Deoband. And then Brother Sohail Patel told Molana Mumtazul Haq that look, this is the fatwa of your Mufti Habibur Rahman. So what do you say to it now? You see, it's not unknown fatwa. It has been edited by your Mufti. So then Molana Mumtazul Haq said this fatwa of Dar Ulum Deoband should be interpreted as the hadith in Sahih Bukhari. You see, in which, when someone gets close to Allah by nawafil, and Allah becomes the hand, and He becomes the hearing by which He hears and everything. He said, look, you interpret this hadith, so likewise, you don't say Imam Bukhari or this hadith amounts to belief. You say Allah's power is in everything. So likewise, the Fatwa of Dar Ulum Deoband should be interpreted to mean that when they said, Allah Ta'ala Hurjagah Mojood hai, it should be interpreted to mean Allah's power and knowledge is in everything. And when they say Allah Ta'ala Hurchis mein Mojood hai, Allah Ta'ala is present within and in everything, it should be said Allah's knowledge and Allah's power is present in everything. So this is what Molana Mumtazul Haq made this excuse, and he said to Sohail Patel he doesn't want to speak him anymore about this and that. But the problem is that obviously this hadith is interpreted by the scholars to mean that Allah protects the servant, and He protects his ears and his eyes, and he does not hold except by Allah's permission, he does not see except by Allah's protection. But this hadith is interpreted because Allah says in the Quran that He is above His arsh. So we have a dalil for this hadith to be interpreted to mean something else. But where do the Deobandis say that Allah's essence is on Arsh and it is separate from the creation, so we can make the same ta'wil for them, you see. How the scholar did explain this hadith is because they have a dalil in the Quran to say Allah is above the Arsh. But the Deobandi, they never say somewhere else Allah is on the Arsh by essence. So that's why we have to resort to extrapolate their speech. And what we did, alhamdulillah, is Brother Sohail Patel then asked again Dar Ulum Deoband. Because I've said to him, look, Molana Mumtaz is saying this as a ridiculous defense, then we should ask Dar Ulum Deoband, do you mean Allah is present everywhere by His knowledge and qudra or by His essence? So this is what Molana, Brother Sohail Patel, this is his email. I'm going to give it to Dar Ulum Deoband, India. He said, my name is Sohail Patel, I'm from London, UK. We had taken a look at the fatwa, and he gave the link to the fatwa. And then he said, could you please inform us what it means in this fatwa by Allah is everywhere present? Present at the same time and present in everything. Is it by His knowledge or power, or is it by His that, in brackets, essence? He said, many Deobandis in UK seem to be confused about this matter. We would be grateful for your cooperation and kind assistance. I look forward to your reply. And then it has been translated into Urdu by Dar Ulum Deoband, and they have asked Molana the Mufti Habibur Rahman about this. And they asked me, इस फतवे की मज़ीद वज़ाहत फरमाएं, ब्रिटानिया में बहुत सारे देवबंदियों को इस सिलसिले में कंफ्यूजन है. इस सिलसिले में आप ताउन के लिए ममनून होगा. So then there's a code of the fatwa, and Molana Mufti Habibur Rahman answered, Allah Ta'ala हरजगह और हरचीज में मौजूद है. You see, he confirmed it. Allah is present everywhere and in everything. Allah Ta'ala हरजगह और हरचीज में मौजूद है. होने की कैफियत नहीं बताई जा सकती. And he said, we cannot tell how Allah is present everywhere and in everything. You see, जो लोग सिर्फ अर्श पर होने के कायल हैं, उन्होंने भी उसकी कैफियत को अल्लाह ही के हवाले कर दिया है कि वो ही बेहतर जानते हैं. He said, those people who believe that Allah is on His arsh, they also leave the kayfiyah to Allah, you see, and they say Allah knows best how it is. We do not know how Allah is established upon His arsh. So he said, likewise, the Salafi, meaning they believe it's Allah is upon His arsh, but they say the kayfiyah is only known to Allah, not how Allah is established. So likewise, we believe Allah is present everywhere and in everything, but He knows the kayfiyah, we cannot explain it. आपको जिस चीज में शुबह तरद हो उसको जाहिर करके बताएं और हम शुबह को दूर करने की कोशिश करेंगे. Habibur Rahman, that's the date. It has been dated. And this answer, Jawab al-Sahih, there's another Deobandi scholar, Muhammad Hassan Balanshehri, and Muhammad Nu'man Sitapuri, Muftiane Dar Ifta. So this answer of Habibur Rahman has been approved by two other Mufti, the main Muftis of Dar Ulum Deoband. So this is not a joke, or this is not a local Mufti in the corner whose speech we're presenting to you. This is, I mean, people have to understand it. This is the highest authorities, like the Lajna Daima in Saudi Arabia or for Al-Azhar, the highest authority. You see, now if the Deobandi UK say we don't believe Allah is everywhere, he is differing with his elders. You see, if Muhammad ibn Adam Kothari say, oh, we don't believe Allah is everywhere, this is not the stance of Dar Ulum Deoband. The Dar Ulum Deoband stance is, as is present on the webpage and on the fatwa, Allah is present everywhere and in everything, and we cannot explain. Allah only knows the kayfiyah of it. So this is why we have this hujjah upon Molana Mumtaz. They didn't, we asked them, do you believe it's by his qudra? Or they didn't say, like Molana Mumtaz Haq believed, what they mean is Allah is present by His qudra and knowledge. They could have said Allah is present by His knowledge and qudra and everything, not by His essence. No. And what the parallel He's done with the Salafis believe Allah is by essence upon Arsh. So, likewise, they believe Allah is by essence everywhere, and we cannot explain the kayfiyah, you see. Else they would have said, no, it was easy for them. And when somebody asked them, where is Allah? The questioner is asking them about the essence of Allah. He's not asking about the qudra or the ilm. So we have first shown the fatwa, people ask him where Allah, they say everywhere, in everything. Then we ask them, can you clarify by his qudra or by his essence? And they've said he's by everywhere, and we cannot establish how. You see, so there is no doubt about Dar Ulum. If they wanted to say by his knowledge, they would have said it, and we asked them in English to clarify by his essence or by his qudra. So this leaves Molana Mumtaz with no explanation. And he said before to brother Yaseen Chaudhry, this is the creed of the Hindu. They believe Allah is present in everything. So we said to Molana Mumtaz, give a fatwa against your own university, Dar Ulum Deoband, clean your own house. And likewise now, after clarifying the stopping of the Fatwa of Dar Ulum Deoband, I will ask gently Molana Mumtaz, you said this is not our court. We do not believe in Wahdatul Wujud. I mean, in my book against on the creed of the Deobandi elders, a critical analysis of the creed of the Deobandi elders and the leaders of Tablighi Jama'ah, I have shown many quotes of Wahdatul Wujud in Deobandi books. But now I'm only asking Molana Mumtazul Haq because, I mean, obviously some brother have asked him, I mean, if we could have a sitting, and if he wants to explain to me what is the right meaning of these sayings. So, I mean, if I made a mistake, I will amend my writing on them. But Molana Mumtazul Haq should accept this challenge. So I've only quoted 10 quotes from the Deobandi's elders' books. And Molana Mumtazul can refute them in any lecture, or after quoting them fully, give the right meaning to it. So at least people do not accuse us of being unfair, you see. And as well, alhamdulillah, I mean, our aim is only to show to the layman what is the reality of the Deobandi school of thought. We have no personal enmity towards anyone, and this is why even some brothers asked me, why you made the name of your book Critical Analysis of the Deobandi Elders? Because obviously the Deobandi layman, he has no idea about Wahdatul Wujud. So this is why, to be fair among them, the Deobandi layman have no ideas of what kind of kufr and shirk is present in the Deobandi books. So we condemn the author of these books, Ashraf Ali Thanvi, Rashid Ahmad Gangohi, and all the others. And we tell the Deobandi layman that you have to correct your house, you have to stop selling these books, and obviously you have to fight against this creed of Wahdatul Wujud, which your own Hanafi scholars, Ibrahim al-Halabi, he's got 3 books. His most famous is Ni'matul Dhariya, well-known book. Inshallah, we will present some quotes of these books. They have been criticized, Ibn Arabi and Wahdatul Wujud. So we ask them to look at the Dalail and look with neutrality. Do not have ideas that my shuyukh are infallible, they have ilham from Allah, the Prophet came to Dar Ulum Deoband and he approved that. All these stories, they're just fairy tales and myth. You see, you should not base, like the mushrik from Magan, fairy tales and myth. You should base on clear proofs. And if you see you scholars being involved in such kind of kufr, so some of the Deobandis in Pakistan had made their own group, the Mamatis, like Molana Ghulam Mullah Khan and Muhammad Hussain Nailvi, the Mamati, and then you have Tahir Panchpir and his organization Isha Tawheed wa Sunnah. So alhamdulillah, some of them left invoking help from grave, and they have a Nida al-Haq of Molana Hussain Nailvi in 3 volumes, in which he has a book against dead, on the topic of dead not hearing. He has a book against Taskina Sudur of Molana Safra Safdar Khan Nida al-Haq, in which he clearly shows that the Hanafi scholars do not believe the dead can hear. He quoted from the main books, 10 or 20 of the greatest book. You see Fatwa ibn Abidin, and you see the Ibn Nujaym and the others, Hidayah, and many other Hanafi books. And then obviously the Mamati have many other books. But you see, they're only in Pakistan, and there are very few of them. But at least you see, they say we're not blind followers. At the end is the Quran and Hadith and the Salaf of the Ummah, you see, they follow. So I mean, here in England as well, I mean, I asked the Deobandi layman or the students of knowledge to think with neutrality, you see. What is the guarantee from Allah. There's no certificate coming telling you that these elders of Deoband are upon the, you see, the Ahlul Haq. Then you have to be careful and save yourself from fire, save yourself and your family. So nobody's has given you certificate that you'll go to paradise or these elders will go to paradise. So you have to do your own research. And if you see black magic or grave worship in their books and there's no authentic hadith about it, then you should condemn these practices, these Sufi practices they have. If you have stories of Nek Abdal in the book Arwah Salasa and women and children going to this naked sand, you should be the first one to condemn, and you should tell your elders to stop selling these wrong books. You see? And obviously, alhamdulillah, also to the, this is an advice for the Deobandis and as well for the others who defend them. You see, because some of the Hanbali shuyukh, they do not have access to their Urdu books, so they only see, obviously because they hide their beliefs, their secretive religions, societies, so they have good opinions of them. So we as well, translate these works on Urdu, show their scans, and it is up to, we ask them as well to change their opinions on the Deobandis, and they can get these quotes translated and checked by other people. And if we're mistaken in any translation, we're the first one to accept our mistakes or corrections. We're not freak people or lunatics, or we have an agenda against the Deobandis. We just say because we've seen the Naqshbandi and Chisti Tasawwuf, we know they believe in, we've seen them believing in Wahdatul Wujud. We've seen some of them, we've spoken to them, and they've said Allah is present everywhere by essence. And we in the Khanqa, what kind of, in the many of the Urdu books, or even in English now, like Fatwa of Dar Ulum, they tell to seek help from the Prophet's grave. So, the Deobandis shirk of the main Hayati groups, because most of them are Hayati, especially in UK, it is not hidden for anyone who wants to look at their group with full objectivity. So now, inshallah, I'm going to give the 10 quotes on the Deobandis. And if Molana Mumtaz has time, he can refute these 10 quotes. So I'm going to start now, inshallah. The first one is one of the leader of the Taifa, they call him Sayyidul Taifa, is the leader, Haji Imdadullah Makki, to whom Molana Qasim Nanudwi, Rashid Ahmad Gangohi, and Ashraf Ali Thanvi, Molana Muhammad Hussain Madani have all given bay'ah. He is the Sheikh, he used to be a Chisti Sufi. And in his book, it has been published by Dar Ulum at Karachi, Kuliyat Imdadiya, it has many rasail of Imdadullah Makki, and one among them is Ziyal Qulub. On page 35, in the rasail Ziyal Qulub, he is saying, I'm going to read in Urdu first, क्योंकि आरिफ हकीकत इंसानी तक जो कि उलूहियत पहुंच गया. Describing the state of fana, he's saying the gnostic, the arif, has reached the reality of humanhood, which is uluhiyah. He has reached this level. He has reached the reality of the human being, which is uluhiyah, meaning divinity. And then he said, afterwards he said, he knows the creation to be non-existent and God as the absolute existence, موجود mutlaq. And by Allah's knowledge, he considered himself conditioned absolutely, and because of this being conditioned, he thinks he is a slave and stand up saying La ilaha illallah. So he's saying after having reached this state of unity with Allah, he reaches the reality of humanity, which is divinity, uluhiyah. And then after this state of unity, he returns to the creation, and it's only because Allah has put a condition in his brain that he believes he's a human. You see, and he thinks he's a slave and stops saying La ilaha illallah. You see, he writes in Urdu, और खुदा के इल्म के ज़रिए से अपने आप को मुतलक क़ैद में आया तसव्वुर करता है और क़ुयूद की वजह से अपने आप को बंदा समझता है. He said because of this quyud, he believes he is a human. اور کہہ اٹھتا ہے, and he says La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. So for them he's not really human, but he believes he's a human because of a condition that Allah's put in his heart. اس مرتبہ خدا کا خلیفہ ہو کر لوگوں سے کو اس تک پہنچاتا ہے. And he said after having this condition and saying La ilaha illallah, he makes people reach this state of unity. You see, he becomes a Khalifa to Allah and he makes people reach this reality. اور ظاہر میں بندہ اور باطن میں خدا ہو جاتا ہے. And apparently, you see, in ظاہر, externally he is slave. ظاہر میں بندہ اور باطن میں خدا ہو جاتا ہے. And in باطن, internally he becomes God. You see, اس مقام کو برزخ برازخ کہتے ہیں. And then he carries on this level, it's called برزخ برازخ. And then he's qualified with the attributes of God, he's decorated with God's qualities, and he's got ikhtiyar on all the creation and whatever. So this is a clear quote from the highest Deobandi authority, Haji Imdadul Amaki, saying human being reaches the reality of humanhood, which is al-uluhiyah. And in Zahir he is slave, and in Batin he becomes God. Na'udhu billah. So this is the first quote. If Molana Mumtaz, after quoting it fully, wants to explain to us, we would be ready to listen to it. But not an explanation of Wahdatul Wujud, this is what we believe, without quoting it fully and refuting it, because then you can say this is our belief without explaining the bit. You can say, oh, this is what Ibn Arabi believes, without explaining the mushriki of people of Nuh being drawn in ocean of knowledge, and had they left the idol worship, they would have left worshipping Allah according to it. You see, you can't just defend someone without quoting him and defending his quote. In Imdad al-Mushtaq, which is written by Ashraf Ali Thanvi, he has quotes of his teacher Imdadul Amaki, then he explains them. On page 45, so this is the second quote. On page 45, there is فرمایا ہے کہ کلمہ لا امداد الامکی said the کلمہ لا الہ الا اللہ کے اعتبار کے مراتب و مردان تین معنی ہے. He said it has three meaning. The کلمہ لا الہ الا اللہ has three meaning. The first one لا معبود, second ولا مطلوب ولا موجود الا اللہ. یہ سب مراتب سے اعلیٰ ہے. So meaning the first one is there is no معبود except Allah. Second one is there is no matlub, meaning no one is sought except Allah. And the third one, la mawjuda illallah, and this level for him is the highest. There is no mawjud existent except Allah. And obviously none of the Salaf interpreted la ilaha illallah to mean there is no existence except Allah. And this is what the definition for the people of Wahdatul Wujud is. I mean, obviously for the Ahl Sunnah, it is known as the right to be worshipped. La ilaha bihaqin, there is no object of worship in truth. No one should be worshipped really except Allah. But for them, there is no existence except Allah's existence. You see, for them is la mawjuda illallah. Then no one exists in the universe except Allah. So this is a clear definition. So for them, establishing two existences is actually committing shirk. If you say Allah exists and the creation exists, for them is duality and it is shirk. And we have such a quote, Irshad al-Muluk, which is has been a book of Rashid Ahmad Gangohi in Persian, which has been translated into English by Sheikh Ilahi Mirasi, and it has been to Urdu by Sheikh Ilahi Mirasi, from Urdu to English by Majlis Ulema South Africa. In it, they mentioned, Molana Zakaria Kandalvi mentioned a letter of Rashid Ahmad Gangohi to his teacher Imdadul Amaki, and in this letter, I mean on page 20 of Irshad al-Muluk, he says, in this letter of Hazrat Gangohi, "O my refuge of both worlds," meaning Allah is not his refuge in the both worlds, it is Imdadul Amaki. "You have requested information about the highlight of this useless one." Then he carries on. At the end he says, "May Allah forgive that I be a liar, for I have written on the instruction of Hazrat. In reality I am nothing. it is only your shadow, only your existence. What am I? I am nothing. Only He is, meaning only Allah is. You and me are shirk upon shirk. Astaghfirullah, 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 wala hawla wala quwwata illa billah. Then there's the date 1306 Hijri. So at the end of the saying, I am nothing. It is only your shadow, meaning Allah's shadow. Only your existence, meaning I am nothing. I'm only your shadow. I'm only your existence. What I am nothing. He, only He is. Meaning you and me, meaning you, his teacher Imdadullah, and me are shirk upon shirk. So saying two existences, you, me, Zayd, Bakr, Amar, this is shirk. There's only Allah's existence. Astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah. And obviously none of the Salaf ever said that shirk is to believe there are two existences. You see, this is the Wahdatul Wujud's people's definition of shirk. You and me is shirk upon shirk. You see, for them, having two existences is shirk. So this is the third quote. For the first quote, we're going to go to back to the book Imdad al-Mushtaq, and on page 106, you see, because Mumtaz al-Haq, he said, oh, if we believed Allah is everything and in everything we would worship idols. There is a story number on page 106, story 224. I'm going to read it in Urdu. फरमाया है कि एक मुवाहिद से लोगों ने कहा कि अगर हलवा गलीज एक हैं तो दोनों को खाओ. उन्होंने बेशकल खंजीर होकर गो को खाया लिया, फिर भी सूरत आदमी होकर हलवा खा लिया. उसके हिफ्स मरातिब कहते हैं जो कि वाजिब हैं. So the story says, some people asked the muwahid. For them, the muwahid, he is the one who believes in Wahdatul Wujud, that there's only one existence, is Allah. If some people asked, if halwa and ghaliz, meaning the sweet food and the dirt, is the same for you, there's only one existence, so the consequence is the dirt and the food is the same, so then eat both of them. So he wanted, but the people who asked this Sufi Muwahid, Na'uzubillah, he wanted to ask him, which is logical, if you said there's only one existence, it would mean the dirt is Allah's existence, everything is the same, then why you don't eat this sweet and this dirt, eat them both? And if these people, they say, oh, but we don't believe actually Allah is in everything, they would say, oh, but we only believe in Allah's existing once metaphorically, we don't really believe by essence Allah is present everywhere or it is one. I mean the creation's essence is the same as Allah's essence. Then he would have said this, but he didn't say this muwahid. He changed bishakal khanzir hokar khalya. He changed his face into the face of a pig. He's got like supernatural powers for them, na'udhu billah. He changed his face into a pig and he ate the dirt, and then he changed back, shape shifting. He shaped back. I mean, myths and fairies, science fiction, na'udhu billah. And he shifted back his shape to human, and he ate the sweet food. So this is the answer of the Sufi Muwahid. He didn't say, oh no, we don't believe Allah is everywhere, or Allah is everything by essence, we only believe Allah's qudra is everywhere. It is a metaphorical when we said there's only one existence, Allah is only metaphor. No, he said no. So this is the fourth quote. For the fifth one, in the same book, Imdad al-Mushtaq, page 50, in the story number 37, he says that the verse, worship your Lord until certainty comes to you. Ulama Zahir ne yakin se maut murad liya. He said the scholars of Zahir, meaning us, the normal scholars, not those who are in Sufism, they said that worship your Lord until certainty comes to you. For them, certainty means death. Lekin nazdik Sufiya ki yakin ke teen maratib hai. He said, but for the Sufis, you see, they don't follow tafsir of Ibn Masud, Ibn Abbas, tafsir of the Sahaba, of the Tabi'in. They have their own tafsir, you see. their own fabricated religion. Sufiya ke yaqeen ke 3 maratib hai. For the Sufi, yaqeen has 3 levels. There's ilmul yaqeen, ainul yaqeen, ab se bada haqqul yaqeen. ये सब आदमी और ये एक ऐसा मर्तबा है कि जब आदमी मर्तबा होता है तो मुतु क़ब्ल अन तमूतु. He said when you reach the level of haqqul yaqeen, you reach the level of dying before you died. You see, they say you died before dying. It's a Sufi concept. पर पहुंचता तब हासिल होता और आदमी अपने में नहीं रहता. Meaning the person doesn't reside in himself. और उस रुतबे पर पहुंचकर तकल्लुफ शरियत साक़ित हो जाती हैं. He's saying when reaching his level, the level dying before dying, the level of haqqul yaqeen, the religious obligations are removed from this person. You see? और आयत में उनका मजाक पर भी मर्तबा मुराद, लेकिन ये हालत सिर्फ लम्हा रहती है. And he said this verse also this verse include this level, but this state only remains for some time. And those who are complete do not even abandon worship in this state, because worship is immediately loved by God. जिन लोग की जामियत मुयसर है वो इस हालत में भी इबादत को तर्क नहीं करते, क्योंकि इबादत तज़ल्लुल और महबूब खुदा को महबूब है. So he's saying reaching this level of haqqul yaqeen, the religious obligation, prayer, fasting, they are removed from the slave. And he said but it remains for some time, meaning if someone is in this state for a few weeks, for sometimes maybe years, all religious obligations are removed. And he said but those who are perfect, they still pray in this period. So we asked Molana Mumtaz to show us which of the Sahaba had reached this state even for a few hours and left the religious obligations. And so this is the number 5th quote. This is clear Wahdatul Wujud, that the human being does not stay in himself and he is united with Allah, na'udhu billah. Number 6, it is Molana Ashraf Ali Thanvi's defense of one of the greatest heretic, Al-Hallaj. So you see, in his first volume of his Malfuzat, Ashraf Ali Thanvi, on page 284, yes, story number 379, he says, he's speaking to someone, and in English verse he's saying that he defended Al-Hallaj, saying Al-Hallaj once saying he was Allah, he did not leave his state of being a slave. And he was asked, if he is Allah, then why does he pray? And Al-Hallaj answered, my Zahir performs sajda to my batin, and this is a deep secret. So Ashraf Ali Thanvi in Urdu say, अना हक में खुदाई का दावा किया क्योंकि उन पर एक हालत थी, वरना वो अब्दियत के भी मुतारिफ थे. Meaning he said this because he was overpowered by his state, but else he still believed to be a slave. चुनाचे he would pray, चुनाचे नमाज पढ़ते थे. किसी ने पूछा कि जब तुम खुदा हो तो नमाज कैसे पढ़ते हो? Someone asked him, if you're God, why do you pray? He said, मेरी दो हैसियतें हैं. I have two haysiyat, meaning 2 levels, or 2 conditions, or 2 natures, you see. एक ज़ाहिर और एक बातिन. One is apparent, one is hidden. और मेरी ज़ाहिर मेरे बातिन को सजदा करती है. And my apparent my apparent condition or nature prays towards my hidden condition. Or ye rams ghamiza, and this is a hidden secret. And this speech is similar to the Christian one, because they believe that Isa alayhi salam had 2 natures. He had 2 wills. One was divine, one was human. When I've spoken to some of them, you can listen to debates online between Muslim speakers and Christians. They themselves say, we do not worship the bones, the blood of Isa alayhi salam. They say, we believe he has 2 states, he has 2 natures. He has 2 wills. One of their will is human, like eating, drinking, and others. And one of the will is divine. And he's got 2 natures. You see, the nature when he goes to toilet, his is a human nature. And within his body, there is a divine nature. And this is exactly what Hallaj said. I have two natures. One in me is my hidden one. The batin one, it is divinity. And my apparent condition is praying towards. This is when we ask a Christian, why do Isa was doing sajda to Allah? They would say, oh, he had two natures, two conditions, and his human condition was praying towards his divine condition. Or some more, they will make other excuses. So basically, I mean, the creed of Sufism, I've explained in my previous lecture on Wahdatul Wujud, it is the same creed which corrupted Christians, the Greek philosophy, and their doubts, because when it shifted from Palestine to Greece, and the fathers or early churches were Greek, they had this concept of logos, which the Sufis had, Ibn Sina and others, Batinis, they believe as well the first intellect, Aql al-Awwal. You see, the books of Ghazali, Ibn Arabi, they all have this Aql al-Awwal, which they believe was the soul of Muhammad, and this agent helped creating the universe and is managing the universe, the Holy Spirit, whatever. All the terms of the Greek philosophy in Ghazali's books, Ibn Arabi's book, Al-Aql al-Awwal, and all of this is non-Islamic terms, Greek terms. And this is why you will find the Wahdatul Wujud people's explanation the same as the Christians. And I've quoted before Abdul Karim Jili saying the same explanation as Wahdatul Wujud, that Allah is one, but he like the snow appears in water and air and vapor. Likewise, Allah is like the water. We are the snow, and Allah likes the water gushing out of it. And this was quoted by Ibn Ajiba as well in his Futuhatillah, this poem of Abdul Karim Jili. So the explanation of the people of Wahdatul Wujud is the same as the Trinitarian Christians, which has the concept of Greek philosophy and other, which was taken from other ancient, beliefs. And even, the Hindus, they believe it. There's one supreme being which manifests in thousands of beings. Basically, loss of the corruption was same in many religions. Then, this is for number 6. Number 7, Molana Ashraf Ali Thanvi explained the creed of Zuhur, the Sufi creed, Allah appearing in human beings. And he said in his first volume of Malfuzat, he says on page 232, 32, Zuhur or Hulul mein fark. You see, because they say we don't believe in Hul, that Allah incarnates in a human being, but we believe in Zuhur. And when someone asked him, what is the difference between Zuhur and Hulul, he says, explaining the difference, he says, like the image of a person in the mirror is his Zuhur, not his Hulul. Meaning, when you look at yourself in the mirror, it is your appearance. It is not like you incarnate in your image in the mirror. Okay. And then the second example, the shadow of a person is his zuhur and not his hulul. Like your shadow on the floor, it is your zuhur, not your hulul. So he said and he quoted this to Molana Rumi and some others. They gave this example to explain the creed of zuhur. So I'm going to read in Urdu. एक मौलवी ने अर्ज़ किया कि हज़रत ज़ुहूर हुलूल में क्या फ़र्क है? फरमाते जैसे सूरत का अक्स के आईने में उसका ज़ुहूर है, ना कि हुलूल बातिल इंसान का एक ज़ुहूर है, इंसान में हुलूल किए हुए नहीं. सूफिया की ऐसी मसाले से नादानों को शुबा हुलूल का हो जाता है. He said the Sufi give this example, but people think it is hulul. But in my previous lectures, I had explained that actually this creed is the creed of the Christian. And Molana Rahmatullah al-Hindi, which is a well-known Indian scholar, he has his famous book Izharul Haq, Manifestation of the Truth, which is also translated into English. And in his Refutation of Trinity in the 4th chapter, Bab Rabi fi Ibtal Tathlis, he quotes in the 11 points the saying of Al-Maqrizi when he explains the different explanation of different Christian sects. He says some of them will say the relation of the Father and Son is like Dhuhur Surat al-Insan fil Mira'a, meaning like the appearance of the form of the human being in the mirror. You see? So the way they explain Wahdatul Wujud, Zuhur, Allah appearing in human beings, it is like your image in the mirror or your shadow, they use the same image to explain the relation between the Father and the Son, meaning Allah and Isa. And he said, like, it is the appearance of the human in the mirror. And I had quoted from St. Andrews of Crete, who was living like around the 1st or 2nd century of Islam in Syria. He was a priest there. And he had this quote clearly saying that the Father looked at himself in the mirror, and the shape that appeared in the mirror was that of Isa alayhi salam. And looking at himself, he felt love for his picture, and this love is the Holy Spirit. So this, all their examples and their quotes taken are taken from the similar to the Christian belief about Isa alayhi salam. So the word for word, Ashraf Ali Thanvi explained the creed of Hulul from Rumi and others, saying it is like your image in the mirror or your shadow. And the Christian, like Allama Maqrizi said, some of them say that it is the relation Father and Son, and none of the Salaf, any tafsir, had this explanation of the relation between Allah and the creation. All these examples, you're going to find them in books of heretics or in Christian Trinitarians. So obviously, when someone, you say to him, the creation is only the image in the shadow, the consequence is when you look at your shadow, you look at your image in the mirror and you drink, then your image is going to be drinking. And obviously if someone does something bad like zina, his image is going to show zina. So na'udhu the result of this is for them, when someone does zina, the actual one who's doing it, because the others only is an image, na'udhu it is Allah. And this is what we find in Tazkiratul Rashid, which is the biography of Rashid Ahmad Gangohi by Ashik Ilahi Mirathi. And in it we find on volume 2 page, this is the 8th quote, quote number 8. So if Molana Mumtaz wants to read it fully and then explain what it means, you see on volume 2 page 242, he's speaking about Sufi Zamin Ali Shah Jalalabadi, saying he was drawn into Tawheed. I mean, none of the Sahabi and the Tabi, they were drawn, but only the Sufis are drawn and intoxicated because they have fabricated this religion. So in it, there is this story of this Zamin Ali Shah Jalabadi. I'm going to summarize it. He had many students, women, who were prostitutes, and they used to go to him, but one of them wouldn't go. And she said, because I'm too shy, because I'm doing prostitution, I'm shy to go towards a saint. And then he went to her, and he said to her, she said, मैं ज़ियारत के कायल नहीं, मियाँ साहब ने उन्होंने जी तुमसे हमारे पास ज़रूर लाना. So ढूंढिए उसके लेकर जब उसके सामने आई, तो मियाँ साहब ने पूछा, तुम क्यों नहीं आई थी? उसने कहा, हजरत रसवाई ही की वजह से, आप वो फील्ड अशेम्ड, ज़ियारत की हुई, शर्माई हूँ. मियाँ साहब पूछे, बीबी शर्माती क्यों हो? करने वाला कौन और कराने वाला कौन? वो तो ही है. Meaning, he said, why are you shy? Who is the doer? Karne wala is the doer. Who is the doer of zina? Or karane wala kaun? And who is the one who makes it happen? Wo hi to hai. There is only him. You see? Karne wala kaun? Karane wala kaun? Karne wala who is doing zina? Karane wala who is making it happen? Wo hi to hai. Kaun? Wo to wo hi hai. Meaning it is only him. And she said, Rondi ye sunkar आग हो गई और खफा होकर ला हौला वला कुव्वता इल्ला she said la hawla. She felt so much angry. She said, what is this rubbish? She said, la hawla wala quwwata billah. मैं गुनहगार हूं, मैं लेकिन ऐसे पीर के मुंह पर पेशाब भी नहीं करती. She said, I am a sinful person, but I don't even urinate on the face of such a peer, a fake Sufi saint. और मियां साहब को शर्मिंदा होकर मुंह से रह गए. Meaning she felt that, look, I'm a sinner, but I don't even urinate on such a fake peer. And for them, these Sufi saints that say to their prostitute, who is the one doing it and the one who makes it happen, it is only him. And she's a layman person, she understands what it means. And she said, now, la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. So this is the reality of Wahdatul Wujud. They say, oh, he was drawn into Tawheed. If someone is intoxicated, like they say, oh, Abu Yazid Bastami is intoxicated, but someone who writes book, like Ibn Arabi or Hallaj, he's got his big volume Tawassin book in which he says, Iblis and Fir'aun are my masters and they refuse to repent, I will not repent. They're not intoxicated. Molana Rumi or Al-Hallaj Ibn Arabi, they're writing these books, and some even claim their books have been given to them by Allah. Na'uzubillah, like Ibn Arabi. So they're not intoxicated, you see. If Abu Yazid Bastami, because he hasn't written his book, okay, we can say he was intoxicated, but such of his speech should be condemned. You see his speech in the state of intoxication. But these people, and it should not be quoted in books, but for them, he was drawn into Tawheed, they quote his speech. And na'uzubillah, this is the reality of what he said previously. It is only your image in the mirror, like the creation is only the... So who is na'uzubillah actually doing zina? You understand yourself, and their examples are quite clear. So this was for quote number 8. Quote number 10, this is the saying of Abu Yazid Bastami saying, glory to me. In his volume 4 of Malfuzat, Ashraf Ali Tanvi, volume 4, in his saying number 42, he quotes this long story that he would say, so Subhani Ma'azamashani, glory to me, how esteemed is my position. मुरीदों ने एक रोज कहा कि आप ये क्यों कहते, फरमा कि अगर मैं एक मर्तबा कहूँगा तो मुझ पर छुरियों से मार देना. His students ask him, what do you say such thing? He said, if I say it again, kill me with knives. मुरीद भी ऐसे ना थे जैसे आजकल हो छुरियां लेकर तैयार हो गए. His murid were not like the murid of nowadays. They had the knives ready. मगर जो आके इनको तो एक जख्म भी ना आया और मुरीद के तमाम अपनी ही छुरियों से जख्मी हो गए. He said, but the next time when he said, glory to me, and they tried to stab Abu Yazid Bastami, he wasn't hurt, but they themselves were hurt. मौलाना ने उसका राज फरमाया कि इससे मालूम होता है कि वो नहीं कहते थे. And he said, Abu Yazid Bastami explained this, that he was not saying this. You see, he was not saying this, meaning Allah was saying this upon his tongue. And this is the belief of the Christian, you see, that the divine nature of divinity speaks upon the human body. You see, of Isa alayhi salam, they don't believe the flesh, the blood is divine. But they said that in the body there is the divinity speaking through it, and this represents divinity. And this is the exact creed of the Sufi. None of the Salaf, among the Sahaba, the scholars, Imam Abu Hanifa, Malik, Shafi, they said, glory to me, and then they said, oh, Allah is speaking through me. Allah is not speaking through the Sahaba. How is he going to speak through misguided Sufis of later centuries? I mean, this is the greatest kufr, and people are making excuses to justify this kufr. So, and Molana told that the secret, you see, there's a secret, it's all secretive. It is, he was not saying this, meaning Allah was saying this. And this quote is present in the English translation of Nicholson. The torrents of madness bore away his reason, and he spoke more impiously than before. Within my vesture is naught but God. Whether you seek him on earth or in heaven, his disciples all became mad with horror, and struck with the knives at his holy body. Each one who aimed at the body of the Shaykh, his stroke was reversed and wounded the striker. No stroke took effect on the man of spiritual gifts, but the disciples were wounded and drowned in blood. And at the end, Rumi says, oh, you who smite with your sword him besides him, you smite yourself therein. Beware, for he that is beside himself is annihilated and safe. Meaning, Abu Yazid Bastami was annihilated and he was safe. Yeah, he dwells in security forever. His form is vanished. He's a mere mirror. Meaning Abu Yazid Bastami has vanished in his body. He's only a mirror. Nothing is seen in him but the reflection of another. What you see in his body is only your reflection. If you spit at it, you spit at your own face. If you hit that mirror, you hit yourself. If you see an ugly face, this is your own. and if you see Jesus there, you are the Mother Mary. He is neither this nor that, he is void of form. This your own form which is reflected back to you. So this is the saying of Jalaluddin Rumi. The Shaykh is annihilated, he has no form, he's only a mirror. If you see spit, you spit at yourself. If you see an ugly face, this is yours. If you see Jesus, there's you, Mary, Maryam, na'udhu billah. He's neither this nor that, he doesn't have any form. This your own form which he reflected back to you. So this is their belief of Wahdatul Wujud. You and me is shirk upon shirk. It's only one form. If you stab the other one, you're going to be the stabbed. If you spit at the sheikh, you're going to spit at yourself. One kind of creed and religion this is. This is pure heresy and ilhad. You see, this is not surprising to see Jalaluddin Rumi having sayings about Abu Yazid Bastami going to Hajj and seeing a sheikh telling him it is better that you do tawaf around 7 times around the sheikh than doing a tawaf to the Kaaba. And the Abu Yazid Bastami didn't go to Hajj, but he did tawaf 7 times around the sheikh, and he gave the money to the Sufi sheikh, and Abu Yazid Bastami went back to his country. This is what Jalaluddin Rumi wrote. This is his religion. Doing tawaf around the sheikh, which amounts to worshipping this sheikh, is better than tawaf around the house of Allah, which amounts to worshipping Allah. And he's got many other pornographic stories, which some of them I have read. Many sayings like Pharaoh and if the colors are taken, Pharaoh and Musa alayhi salam are friends, na'uzubillah. It's only colors and shape, but he's got many other sayings, poems that I'm neither Muslim, I'm not this, I'm not that, all these religions. I mean, he's got so much kufr and shirk in his books, but for them he's a saint and it is ilhami speech. So to finish this lecture, and number 10, the last quote in Arwa Salasa of Molana Amir Shah Khan, and he's got some notes of Shah Sharaf Molana Sharaf Ali Thanvi. There's a long story which I will only read in English, but it's present and the scans will be given on page 190 because it's very long. I'm just going to quote one or few of the shocking bits of the Urdu ones. So this is the story of Hakim Abdul Salam's father. He said, although he was Naqshbandi Mujaddidi and learning from Shah Abdullah Zisab and Shah Ghulam Ali Sahab, Chistiyat was preponderant in my father. Meaning, though he was a Naqshbandi, he had a Chisti state being preponderant in him. Though he did not learn from any Chisti, and because of this he was in such a state that when he heard that in such a place there is a beautiful thing, he will travel to see it. One, he learned that there was a Jaipur, a beautiful picture, so he went to Jaipur to see it, although the travel was very long, especially in their times. Likewise, he was informed that there was a beautiful she-camel in a place far away from Lucknow. And hearing this, he started his trip and saw that she-camel. When coming there, he put his hand on her neck and kissed on her forehead, meaning the she-camel, and he said, where did he perform zuhur? Meaning, where did Na'udhu Allah perform zuhur? पेशानी पर बोसा देकर फरमाया है कहाँ zuhur फरमाया. Arz ke ye unki halat, meaning he went to travel to see this beautiful she-camel and he kissed this beautiful camel and he said, kahan zuhur farmaya, where did Na'udhu billah Allah appear? This was his state. Now listen to this. In this side of Lucknow there was a scholar living and he was ashiq on a boy, meaning this is the Sufi law for boys. And he was teaching him with love, meaning वो एक इस एक मकाम पर एक आलिम रहते थे, वो एक लड़के पर आशिक थे, meaning this alim was आशिक, he has love for a boy, और उसको बहुत मोहब्बत के साथ पढ़ाते थे. नाउज़ु बिल्लाह. The poor boy, I mean, what kind of love the man have done to him, these Sufis. And then he carries on traveling that you see, when my father heard the story of his beauty, he went to see it according to his habit, and he carries on. And at the end of the story, he said his father moved his hand to shake the hand of this Ashik teacher, but suddenly the boy appeared and his father was drawn into looking at his boy, meaning he was shaking the teacher's head. I'm coming to see this beautiful, handsome boy. When his hand was, when he saw the boy, he got like paralyzed. And he wanted to shake the hands with the teacher, but could not. He was like paralyzed. You see, seeing at the beauty of the young boy. And the teacher saw that that boy came out, and he understood that Hakim Saab's father was from his kind of people. So the teacher saw Hakim Saab's father being paralyzed, and he understood, oh, he's the same kind of person as me. So this is the story. You see, मुसाफा तो रह गया और वालिद साहब को उस लड़के को देखने में मुस्तगरक हो गए। इन आलिम ने जब ये देखकर कहा कि ये मुसाफा करना चाहते मगर मुसाफा नहीं कर सकते, तो उन्होंने मुंह फेर कर अपने पीछे देखा तो मालूम हुआ कि ऐसे कि लड़का खड़ा है। उसे देखने में सूरज मालूम हुआ कि हजरत भी हमारे हम रंग मालूम होते, तो उन्होंने इस लड़के को आवाज दी कि कहा कि हाँ साहब से मुसाफा करो। So he called the young boy and said, shake the hands of this Sufi. And then there's a poem in Persian. So this is the reality of this Sufi, and Arwah Salasa for them is story of saints. This person traveling to see the handsome boy. For them it is a saint, and this is the reality of the hidden secretive religion. That, they say, oh, he was overpowered in a state. If someone is overpowered in a state and speaks kufr or shirk, you don't quote his kufr and shirk in books. But this is an excuse, like they said before, affirm separation on your tongue, but belief of unity in the heart. You see, this is what we find. Whoever reveals the secret of lordship has committed kufr and shirk. So, you see, this is only an excuse. This person was insane, or he was possessed, overpowered. And he didn't say I'm overpowered or whatever. He said, why did he perform zuhur? You see, if he was insane, he wouldn't explain. The father wouldn't explain his action by making sentence. Someone who's insane or overpowered, he cannot make sentences which have a meaning. So they explain their action by saying, why did he perform zuhur? Meaning, why did Allah perform zuhur? So there is nothing of craziness in it. There is a creed behind it, and this creed is told in the other courts. So the excuse of madness obviously is not accepted. What the apparent meaning given is, why did he perform zuhur? Why did the Sahaba and the Tabi'in kissed camels and while traveling to look at boys, saying, why did Allah perform zuhur? This is this openly sold in books. All the other courts, who is the one doing zina and the one making it happen? There's the meaning of la ilaha illallah is only la mawjuda illallah, is your shadow in the mirror. It is, all their examples are clear. They're taken from Christians, and it is clearly the religion of Wahdatul Wujud. So we asked Molana Mumtaz, we were given 10 courts with the scans, everything. The books are available. In Ziaul Qulub saying that the Arif has reached the level of humanity, haqiqat insani jo ki uluhiyat hai, which is uluhiyah, divinity. So we ask Molana Mumtazul Haq if he has time to refute, and if we're wrong, we will correct ourselves. But this is also to show to the Hanbali sheikhs and to the layman that our aim is to protect the deen. You see, it is not to joke or vain talk. I mean, defending this kufr and shirk, it is a serious matter. So we ask them to think as well, and we make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide us all and protect from the shirk of Wahdatul Wujud. And doing jihad against them is greater than doing jihad against Jibt or Taghut. And we have shown to Molana Mumtaz the Fatwa of Dar Ulum Deoband. Dar Ulum Deoband, they don't believe in by power or knowledge. They believe by essence Allah is everywhere. And we will inshallah give you the scans of this fatwa, and to everyone as well, inshallah, for all the other brothers who want to investigate. ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. آمين.